Good morning! Today we are going to another place. So the new bridge is being constructed and we're gonna drive through the old bridge. Let me tell you Bhutan's story. Bhutan and neighboring Tibet experienced the spread of Buddhism during the lifetime of the Buddha. In the first millennium, Vajrayana Buddhism spread to Bhutan from the southern Pala Empire of Bengal. During the 16th century, Samdrung Ngawang Namgyal unified the valleys of Bhutan into a single state, defeating 3 Tibetan invasions, subjugating rival religious schools, and establishing a government of theocratic and civil administrators. Bhutan was never colonized, although it became a protectorate of British Empire. In 1910, the Treaty of Punkha guaranteed British advice in foreign policy in exchange for internal autonomy, an arrangement that continued under a new treaty with India in 1949. Bhutan joined the United Nations in 1971. The 2008 Constitution established a parliamentary government with an elected National Assembly and National Council.
You take away from her experience.
The name Bhutan and its precise etymology remains unknown. Traditionally, it's taken as a transcription of the Sanskrit Bhota, Anta, meaning end of Tibet, a reference to Bhutan's position as a southern extremity of the Tibetan plateau and culture. Just drove into the Royal Botanical Park. Lamperi, established to conserve Bhutan's rich biodiversity. So check this out. Ready? Zoom, 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 zoom.
I'm sure somebody will.
So this right here is the tallest peak in Bhutan. 7,000! 570 meters. And what's the name?
Gangkhas Puensum.
Alright, say that fast 10 times. Gangkhas Puensum, 7,570 meters. As I mentioned in an earlier episode, this mountain will remain unclimbed. Bhutan banned mountaineering in 2003 out of respect for spiritual significance local communities attached to sacred peaks. It says start recording and then you see red.
Yes.
Covering 47 square kilometers of pristine temperate forest at altitudes between 2,100 and 3,800 meters. It is home to over 460 species of plants, including medicinal herbs and endangered orchids, plus wildlife like red pandas, Himalayan black bears, and leopard cats. While the group is hiking, let me tell you about Bhutan's remarkable political transformation. So, in 1953, King Jingme Dorji Wangchuck established the country's legislature, a 130-member National Assembly, to promote more democratic governance. In 1965, he set up the Royal Advisory Council, and in 1968, he formed the cabinet.
2 of them miss you.
In 1999, the government lifted a ban on television and internet, making Bhutan one of the last countries to introduce television. The king said television was a critical step to modernization and a major contributor to gross national happiness, but warned that misuse of this technology could erode traditional Bhutanese values. In December 2005, King Jingme Singye Wangchuck announced he would abdicate the throne in his son's favor, followed by the first national parliamentary elections in December 2007 and March 2008. On November 6, 2008, 28-year-old Jingme Kesar Namgyal Wangchuck was crowned king. Bhutan's transition from absolute monarchy to constitutional democracy was driven not by revolution, but by a king who believed his people deserved to choose their own leaders. This is pretty rare in history, wouldn't you say? Since the 17th century, Bhutan's official name has been Druk Yul, literally country of the Drukpa lineage, or the land of the thunder dragon. The term Bhutan appears only in English language correspondence. Our lunch spot, and I want to give a huge thank you to our guide and his assistant. They made this entire journey exceptional, patient, knowledgeable, and kind. They opened Bhutan to us in ways we couldn't have imagined. Yummy, 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 yummy! The royal family, King Jingmekasar Namgyal Wangchuk, Queen Jetsun Pema, and their children. Their photos are displayed in every hotel, every restaurant, every government office, every home. This isn't a mandated propaganda. It's genuine affection. The king is beloved. In 2011, the king wed Jetsun Pema, then 21, a commoner and daughter of a pilot. Their wedding was a national celebration. In Bhutan, the monarchy isn't distant, it's family. And here, our driver, washing the van, cleaning inside.
What you doing?
He's done this every day of our journey. We might not have noticed, but this daily ritual kept our space comfortable, clean, welcoming. Sometimes it's the invisible work that makes travel even better. Thank you. Now, a few of us are heading to a very special place to wait for the group. Take a ride and be happy. Somewhere that will prove to be one of the most spiritual power sites we ever encountered. It didn't hit it. Oh, you gotta go a little faster. You gotta go faster. Simtokha Dzong, also known as Sangak Zamdoron Podrang, Palace of the Profound Meaning of Secret Mantras, built in 1628 by Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal, who unified Bhutan. It's first dzong of its kind built in the country. And here, this is a Garuda, mythical birds from Hindu and Buddhist mythology. What looks like worm coming from their nose? Well, those are nagas, serpents. In Buddhist iconography, the Garuda defeats the naga, representing the triumph of wisdom over ignorance, spiritual liberation over worldly attachments. These corner guardians protect the dzong from negative forces. The dzong's exterior at the lowest level features an array of 300 slate carvings depicting saints and philosophers. These black stone reliefs, some painted in sacred colors, red for power and protection, blue for wisdom and compassion. They tell the stories of Buddhism journey to Bhutan. Each figure represents a teaching, a lineage, a moment when enlightenment touched this mountain kingdom. Inside the main Lhakhang has a large image of Sakyamuni Buddha with 8 bodhisattvas on both sides and many dark mural paintings said to be some of the oldest in Bhutan. There are chapels dedicated to Yeshe Goenpo, Mahakala, and Pelden Lamo, the protector deities of Bhutan. Of course, no photos allowed inside as always, but here at Simtokha Dzong, something is different. The energy is palpable, almost overwhelming. We both felt it. A tingling sensation, a presence that raises the hair on your arms. This isn't superstition. This is centuries of prayer, meditation, devotion soaked into the stone and wood. In 1961, the Buddhist schools of linguistics was established here by the third Druk Gyalpo, Jingme Dorji Wangchuk. Monks have studied here, chanted here, sought enlightenment here for nearly 400 years. Even now, thinking about this place, I feel it again, that spiritual electricity. Some places hold power. Simtokha is one of them. Located about 5 kilometers south of Thimphu, strategically positioned at the boundary common to 3 prominent western regions, Sha, Wang, and Pa. And here, the Four Harmonious Friends, one of Buddhism's most beloved stories. The elephant carries the monkey, who carries the rabbit, who carries the bird. Together, they reach fruit neither could reach alone. In Bhutan, this tale teaches cooperation, mutual respect, and harmony, showing that wisdom matters more than size, that unity achieves what individuals cannot. You'll see this image throughout Bhutan.
Longest queue ever in Bhutan?
Is this normal in Thimphu or is this
No,
something?
sometimes. Because of the global peace fair. Oh, still.
This is the oldest dzong that has survived in its original form. It's believed the dzong provided protection against the demon which has disappeared into a rock close to the site. Hence the name Simtokha, meaning Simo, demoness, and Du, stone. Its power, well, we'll spend the next few nights.
Look at that. Yes, it's all nice and warm in here. We got a balcony. Look at that view. Ooh, I love it.
Time for dinner. Look at all these yummy chili chicken, spinach with gravy, brinjal, eggplant fry, emadachi, chili cheese, sauteed carrots and beans, vegetable Manchurian, bulgur wheat, white rice, carrot soup. Our journey continues. Our room this morning. So we are leaving the city of Paro and going on a short hike before we visit a museum. Trail marker 8. Over 170 signposts along the Trans-Bhutan Trail, all made from recycled plastic waste, display QR codes linking to content designed to bring each section of the trail to life. So we just started not long ago from somewhere down there, and we're going that way. Depending upon which signpost you find, you can discover videos, comics, and animations, allowing you to learn more about the history of each trail section. Let me tell you about etiquette in Bhutan. Dringlem Namsa, a set of etiquette introduced by Zhabdrung Ngawang Namgyal, seeps into many facets of Bhutanese life, tracing its roots to Buddhist practice. Bowing is more appropriate than handshaking when greeting someone, with the depth of the bow determined by the other person's rank. Pointing fingers or feet, walking over holy items, and touching heads are unbecoming and are not tolerated. Shoes and hats are also not allowed inside temples, neither are shouting or clicking photos. Most of Bhutan's literature is in oral form. Vast pools of folk tales, biographies, local narratives, mythologies, and chronicles passed down word to mouth. Written forms exist, mostly in Chakois and classic Tibetan, remaining almost inaccessible to general population. Sometimes not even a highly learned or well acquainted with the classic form of writing.
My shiny shirt.
Hello! There we go! In Bhutan, it's not the celebration but the rituals that take precedence in marriage. What matters is overall compatibility. Traditionally, women were expected to marry as early as their teens and men in their early 20s. Arranged marriages were relatively common until a few decades ago, but are now in decline. Nowadays, love marriages are most sought after, especially by younger generations. Paro International Airport sits in the deep valley at 2,235 meters of elevation, surrounded by the Himalayan peaks reaching 5,500 meters. There is no radar, and the airport is only accessible in daylight for visual approaches flown manually. Pilots need special certification. So that right there is the Paro Airport. So if I'm zooming in, you see why it's somewhat dangerous to land there? Yeah? The valley is narrow and winding, with the runway only coming into sight a half a mile out. Only about 50 pilots worldwide are certified to land here, and they go rigorous simulator training and must complete at least 30 supervised landings before they're approved. Experienced Druk Yul Captain Chimji Dorji calls it demanding rather than dangerous. It requires the highest level of piloting skill. And remarkably, the aviation safety network shows no fatal accidents at Paro. It's challenging, yes, but the safety records speak for itself. In Bhutan, that is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter. The soil merely taking on a different form. Custom dictates that 7th, 14th, 21st, and mostly the 49th day as most significant for the deceased, with numerous rituals held in between, along with erection of prayer flags. The deceased is said to wander through the intermediate state during the first 49 days, so offerings of food and drinks are made. Burial is not common. Usually, corpses are cremated, though in some instances they're discarded atop cliffs or mountaintops for vultures to prey on, done so in the last act of compassion. As I mentioned before, only 2 airlines fly to Paro. state-owned Druk Yul and privately owned Bhutan Airlines, both operating Airbus A319s and 320s, specifically chosen for high-altitude performance. It connects Bhutan to select regional hubs including Delhi, Kolkata, Bagdogra, Bangkok, Kathmandu, Dhaka, and Singapore. Every international flight to Bhutan lands here. We're out here once again. Look at it. Mignon, Manchichi, Melly. Throughout this journey, I carried two companions, gifts from my siblings. Why carry stuffed toys halfway across the world, you may ask? Because they remind me that adventure doesn't mean leaving everything behind. It means bringing the love of those who can't be here with you. Every photo, every peek, every play effect. The Manchichi and the Minyan were there, representing family. Travel isn't just about where you go, it's about who you carry with you in your heart when you are gone. Look at this. Go on. Regarding birth, what's interesting is that for 3 days after childbirth, no other family member or guests are allowed to take a peek, nor is the mother allowed to speak to anyone. Only after purification on the fourth day are anybody permitted. It's not customary for Bhutanese parents to name a child. Instead, they entrust the role to a local lama or Rinpoche who, along with naming, offers blessing of a local deity to ensure the child's well-being. The best times to visit Bhutan are between September and December, where the climate tends to be dry with bright sunny days. Spring is also wonderful, with peak booking between March and May. You'll be rewarded with beautiful views and forests in full bloom. We were here in November 2025, perfect timing. Clear skies, crisp mountain air, and the festival season in full swing. Bhutan at its best. So we only have one day left. And the next day, we get to go to the tiger's nest. By walking the Trans-Bhutan Trail, you become part of the trail community committed to maintaining and enhancing the trail out of respect to ancestors who built it. Trek only along marked routes, avoid shortcuts across farm fields or private land, and ensure you have a guide. Paro Valley below, terraced rice paddies climbing impossible slopes. Bhutanese agriculture relies heavily on manual labor, with farmers using traditional methods passed down through generations. Rice is the staple, particularly red rice, unique to Bhutan, but farmers also grow buckwheat, barley, potatoes, and apples. The fields are worked by hand, often by entire families, using wooden plows pulled by oxen. Water channels carved centuries ago still irrigate these terraces. It's backbreaking work at altitude, but it connects people to land, to ancestors, to cycles of planting and harvest that have sustained life here for a long time. The Trans-Bhutan Trail is not for profit, social, and tourism enterprise. 100% of the profits go back into maintaining the trail and supporting communities and individuals along the route. If this journey has inspired you, if these mountains have called to you, if Bhutan's commitment to happiness and sustainability resonates, you can help. Traveling the Trans-Bhutan Trail directly maximizes your contributions to research, education, and community development. You can also become a member or donate through their charitable partners. Every distribution keeps this ancient path alive, supports the villagers along the route, and ensures future generations can walk where we walked. Visit the transbhutantrail.bt to learn more. And now let's visit this museum. At one time, this was a watchtower, and it was also used as a prison. Now it's the National Museum. So we have a plane getting ready to take off. All right, you're cleared for takeoff. Go.
Just waiting for you now.
I just told him, yeah.
There we go.
This cookware was carved into marble. Here we see mineral pigments on fabric, mostly from the 20th century, with some pieces from the 19th century. Then there's Buddha Akshobhya from the 20th century, and here's the Mandala of Vajrasattva, created as a visual tool to guide meditators in their spiritual quest towards liberation from worldly suffering by abiding in Vajrasattva. Pause the video for these timeless wisdoms from Buddha. This is Namgyalma, the goddess of victory, who is associated with the ability to grant long life and cure disease. We now enter the Tshogzhing Lhakhang, a chapel of Tree of Merit. This masterpiece was created by the prominent clay master Lopen Damcho along with his apprentice artisans in 1968, the same year the museum opened. This remarkable space features a three-dimensional tree mandala that represents the four major schools of Vajrayana Buddhism in the eastern Himalayan region. First, the Nyingma, or Old Sect, the earliest school of Tibetan Buddhism, brought to Bhutan by Guru Padmasambhava in the 8th century. Second, the Kayuju, known as the Black Hat sect, which emphasizes meditation and the direct transition of teachings from the master to student. Third, the Sakya sect, which develops sophisticated philosophical tradition. And fourth, the Gelugpa, or Yellow Hat sect, the school to which the Dalai Lama belongs. At the center, there is a principal deity couple, and surrounding them there are 42 peaceful deities representing compassionate aspects of enlightened consciousness. But that's not all. There are also 58 wrathful deities, which might seem frightening at first, but in Buddhist understanding, these represent the fierce compassion needed to cut through ignorance and obstacles. This is like a sacred tree that represents the entire spiritual universe. So, how would this be used? Well, if you need wisdom, focus on certain Buddhas. You need protection, look to the guardian deities. Want to connect to a specific tradition? Find that school branch. A total of 100 deities, all organized carefully around the mandala. In this room, we see remarkable black slate tablets similar to the ones we saw in the first Dzong near Thimphu. At the center stands a statue surrounding by various stupas and Buddha figures representing different aspects of the Buddhist tradition. Here we have the eighth manifestation of Guru Padmasambhava from the 18th century, also known as Guru Rinpoche. He introduced Vajrayana Buddhism to Bhutan, and in order to achieve his goal of spreading Buddhism, he was said to have transformed into 8 different manifestations, each befitting the task he had to perform. This painting depicts Gangdu meditating at Takstan cave, and the miracles associated with this meditation are also displayed through the composition. This is the sixth arm Mahakala, the main protective deity of the Kagyu tradition. He's the wrathful emanation of Avalokiteshvara, the great compassionate one. Then we saw the green Tara from the 19th century, white Tara from the 18th century. And this is Amitayus, also from the 18th century. Notice his both hands contain the elixir of immortality, and his red complexion symbolizes infinite life. 11th century slate carving. Traditional costume from different regions of Bhutan. This is the Menjong Gyalkhab poster, the land of medicinal plants. This terrain map of Bhutan shows the types of forests that cover the country at different elevations. I feel like we walked through almost every one of these levels, yeah? And then we entered the natural history selection. Here are various animal skulls displayed on the wall, a crocodile specimen, and 2 white leopards on display. Then the Chinese pangolin skin, more deer skulls line the wall, and clouded leopard skin. The museum has an impressive collection of various butterflies and bird species from Bhutan's diverse ecosystem. The wildcat is similar in appearance to domestic tabby cat. This is carved into rhino horn, and here's a ritual dagger called prupa. Then there are ceremonial teapots, and we're looking at Bhutan's famous stamp collection. These commemorate various space missions, One honors Gandhi, and many others celebrate different subjects. Here is Bhutan numismatic collection showcasing the evolution of currency, and these are the different bills currently used in Bhutan. This is a ceremonial sword, and we are now entering the gallery of arms and armory. There you go, battle helmet. Inside the prison cell, there was an impressive collection of weapons from Bhutan's military past. Cannon guns that once defended the kingdom, spears wielded in battle, and matchlock guns that required skill and patience to operate. And spears. So I think we're in the dungeon, but these are swivel guns and then matchlock guns. And these are like muzzle loading. Oh my gosh, these are like really big. So these were mounted on carts because they would be too heavy. A metal lavang, a traditional wick lamp made from brass for monastic centers. So this is pretty common in people's homes because they stitch their own clothes. And we are leaving the museum, and I think everybody's waiting for us, but shh, we have to get coffee. I felt impossibly lucky, not just to be here, but to have experienced Bhutan through the eyes of incredible people. The hotel staff who greeted us with tea every evening, the restaurant workers who patiently explained every dish, our guide who answered thousands of questions with grace, our drivers who kept us safe on impossible roads, the monks who welcomed us into sacred spaces, the villagers who smiled as we passed through their fields. This journey wouldn't exist without them. So to everyone who made this possible, Kandin Chela, thank you. Wait, our journey isn't over just yet. Look, these rice paddies stretching across the Paro Valley, Bhutanese red rice, renowned worldwide for its nutty flavor and nutrition value. But here's the reality. Bhutan doesn't produce enough rice to feed its population. Despite 70% of Bhutanese working in agriculture, the country imports approximately 50 to 60% of its rice, mostly from India. The mountainous terrain limits arable land, and climate change is affecting crop yields. Yet farmers continue generation after generation working these impossible slopes by hand. Each grain of rice here represents not just food, but tradition, identity, connection to land that refuses to be abandoned. In the next episode, I'll show you those legendary planes landing at Paro Airport up close. We'll also visit a beer brewery and witness traditional archery, Bhutan's national port. And then, in the episode after this, 7, the moment you've been waiting for, that is climbing to Tiger's Nest Monastery.